Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about my experience with complex trauma, as you can see in the video. So I don't even know where to begin in terms of where to talk about this stuff because right now I'm in a place where I don't really know how to explain where I am in life without really going that in depth. Um, So, my experience with complex trauma started really early. I was born in Oklahoma. I was born in Stillwater, Oklahoma. So my mom, ended up like getting out of a divorce because what happened was that she caught someone like cheating, her husband cheating, and then there was like a really nasty kind of divorce. So after that, I she ended up leaving like that family situation overall, and she didn't really know where to go, so she went to Stillwater, Oklahoma. She was originally somewhere else in Oklahoma, but I know she stayed within the state, and she went to a homeless shelter where she met my dad. And that's a fucking heavy use of the word dad in my terms, because I've only really known him for a couple years, and he's never really been in my life outside of the first couple years, honestly. And honestly, should have been in those 4 years because there's a lot to work through in terms of how he fucking did. And first, let's talk about why I'm making this video. Lately, I've been I don't know how to describe it. I feel so alone, and I feel like no one really gives a shit. And it's so incredibly difficult to like even think about. And I guess the reason why I want to talk about my story a little bit more now is because I've been working through a lot, and I have been diagnosed with with post traumatic stress disorder, and then the complex part is my um, childhood, like repeated trauma. So and I have been working through a lot of it lately, for the past year or so, and I don't really know where to go from here because I felt like I'm trying to do everything that's been told to me that would theoretically work, but there's still something that feels like fundamentally broken about me, and I can't bring myself out of it. Like, I actively avoid social situations. I try not to get involved with other people's stuff, and I don't let other people get involved in my life because with my history of complex trauma, with my parents that ultimately abandoned me at some point, one at the age of 4 and then the other one at the age of 15. Ultimately, they were probably in my life for a total of 6 or 7 years combined. And I don't know where to go. I don't really know what to do. And there are times when I just want to give up, you know? I I don't know what I'm doing anymore in terms of like how to move forward. And I'm trying so fucking hard. And this is just as like another step in telling my story. Throughout my life, after my dad was very abusive towards my mom. He was very abusive towards, anyone and everyone. And the abuse on me was early. I was still in my mother's womb, and he nearly killed me. Like the one place where you would think that a person would be able to feel safe in a womb, and I almost died. It wasn't until recently when I started really to think about it that, he almost killed my mom, but in transitive property, he knew I was pregnant by then, and he knew that I was in there, and he still almost killed me. So, he was out of my life pretty early on, age 4, and I didn't really know what to think about it. I didn't really know how to think about it. It was told that to me like it was a good thing. Pretty sure there were instances where he did abuse me. Then I went into foster care after being neglected. We lived in a trailer park in Oklahoma City. We moved from all over in Oklahoma, all over. Literally, can't tell you how many places we've lived before we moved to Oklahoma, and this was by the age of like 6. I can't tell you. So we got to Oklahoma. It was in a trailer park, and it was like slightly north of Moore, Oklahoma, and we lived there. There was no food security. There was nothing. There was nothing in terms of care or love for me. I mean, there were some times I would get my needs met, and sometimes I wouldn't, and it was really confusing to me because I didn't really know what was happening, and all I knew is that I would go hungry a lot, and I was left alone a lot for days, for weeks at a time. I didn't see my fucking mother. So then after that, I went to foster care. Went over like a bunch of different foster care situations, different houses, state facility. That's when I started learning how painful it is to say goodbye to people. How painful it is to lose someone that you actually cared about. And really early on, I learned to stop caring about other people because I didn't want to get hurt. I stopped getting attached to people. And I thought there was something wrong with me for caring about other people. I thought that there was there was something about me that didn't deserve to love people or care about people. And and then my foster mom, Thelma, she came in at the right time, and she taught me kind of what it is to like to love and care, and I felt like I had a normal family for a small amount of time. Even though it was just a single mom, she like was a nurse and she like took care of me, and she made sure I went to school and had friends and I did activities with people. And then shortly after, um, I was there for 2 years, so it was like a taste of a normal life. I ended up going back to my mother. She got me back, and we ended up moving to Colorado after being homeless for like a couple months. Um, we ended up moving to Colorado with one of her boyfriends, and my stepdad, he was there for us for a couple years, and I struggled really intensely with making friends after that, after leaving Thelma. Um, and it felt like all the color was sucked out of life after I left her. Um, I was thrown into a gray abyss of once again being left alone, neglected, not being seen or heard, and as time went on, I started to go towards food as a means of comfort. I overate to feel something and to feel secure. If there was one thing I learned, that if I had food, it wasn't gonna last very long, so I better fucking eat as much as I possibly could, and I got really, really obese. So I started developing anger towards the world. That I would push other people away, and I would manipulate situations for my own personal benefit or my whatever, in social situation, because I had this presumption in my life that no one was really going to be in my life for longer than a year or two. So then that made me not want to make friends. It made me not want to get close to anyone. And like all the developmental milestones of like forming relationships were just gone because I cut myself off from that. And she isolated me. And I felt so alone. And she didn't comfort. She didn't care. She didn't even care to notice me suffering. So we're in Denver. Stepdad, who I kind of grew attached to, he ended up like developing schizophrenia, and that was a big headache. And my mom was never faithful to a single man, always going online to find whoever to date, whatever. And then she ended up after 5 years, she ended up like kicking him out, and he was our breadwinner. He was the one who took care of us. So once he was gone, like, we went homeless. We were about as broke and as fucking pathetic as you could possibly think. So we were homeless for a couple months after she kicked him out, and we sent him back to Maryland. And what happened was that she made a new boyfriend that we moved to Wisconsin, and we were homeless for those couple months, so we could move to Wisconsin. And we did. After, 2014, whatever, we moved to Wisconsin, and she put me in a basement for months. Never said a word to me. All she wanted to do was live in her own world and get her own needs met. So then I was left scrounging for myself. And then I got into a fight with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend ended up making an ultimatum to either send me away or we get kicked out. And she kicked me out, sent me across the country to my aunt and uncle. And I didn't tell anyone about any of this. And by that point, I was kind of broken. I didn't want to care about people. So I made friends, but they were never... I've always felt like an outsider. I've never felt like I belonged. And if I do, it's not there for longer than a year or two. So high school came along, and I, got through it, and there were some wacky times, but I'm not going to get into it. And then I got to college, which was only an hour away from where I was for a majority of high school. And I got attached to someone in high school. And when I went to college, that attachment is disrupted, and I didn't know where to go. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know anything, and it was like this massive void in me. And I keep having recurrent depressive episodes every time I even think about the pain and grief that I felt throughout all my life of losing everyone. And I went through college doing the same thing I did in high school. Didn't make any real close friends. In high school, I made a total of 2 really close friends that I still talk to this day, but my God, I can't rely on them for everything. I can't expect them to be in my life consistently every single day. So, and I avoided romantic relationships to the best of my ability. I would try to get my needs met, but I never wanted to commit to anything. And when I go out of my way to try to make anything romantic happen or whatever, I get called a fucking creep. I feel so stupid for thinking that anybody could fucking love this. And the experience with the complex trauma I don't think I can be feel really, truly loved by anyone. And, you know, the whole answer of, like, love yourself, bro, that should be more than enough. No one really knows me. I'm alone for 90 to 95% of my time. And I keep fighting, and I know how good of a person I am. But I feel like everyone wants to see the bad inside me because I don't ever go out of my way to show myself to anyone. That it's not worth it. It's not worth the fucking pain. So now I'm left in this void of existence where I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I don't know where I'm going. And there's like this one person in my mind where I absolutely know I do love and adore, but I'm probably never going to see them again. I burnt that bridge because I didn't want them to see who I was. And I don't know why I keep fighting. I don't know why I'm doing this anymore. I know that I keep fighting. And I know that I can, quote unquote, know that I can have a family. But I don't really believe it. I don't believe that I'm gonna... that I could feel somewhat put together. That I'm not fundamentally broken anymore. So, if you decided to watch this all the way through, congrats. And you're probably in a really fucking bad mood after that, which is great. But if you want to know if you ever hear or, you know, about complex trauma and what it does to people, this is what it does. And I beg of you, please, if you see someone who is going through any of this, please understand that they're probably going through a really difficult time. So, that's it. See ya.